Hello?
Hello there. This is Adam Smith from nobelprize.org.
Yes.
So we have a tradition of interviewing new laureates very briefly for the website. Could we talk for just a very few minutes?
Sure, it'd be my pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, first of all, sincere congratulations on
Well,
the
thank
award.
you. It's a very exciting day, needless to say.
It must be. In fact, I've been talking since the announcement with my old friend Richard Bond from Houston, who's been...
Oh, yes.
and
I love Richard. He's an old buddy of mine.
Indeed, and he's been describing that he's been hearing about the scenes of jubilation that are going on in your lab and that it's crammed with people.
Absolutely. It's when I got in this morning, which was a bit late because I had been doing phone interviews from home. They had balloons up. They greeted me outside. It's just such a boost. For the people in the lab. They work so hard every day. And, to see recognition for, what we've been doing over the years, even if, it was done, by their predecessors, is a huge source of pride and excitement for all of them.
It must be absolutely wonderful. I guess it must have played havoc with the plans for the day, but that's another story.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I was supposed to get a haircut at 1 o'clock today, which I badly need. If you had video, I'm sure you would agree. But instead, I have a news conference to do. So the haircut will have to wait a day or two. But in addition to the people in the lab, everybody, from the people who are just walking in here, colleagues and that have known me for years, and I sense this tremendous sense of institutional pride. We've not had a Nobel Prize at Duke. We're a relatively young institution at 75 years, which pales by comparison with things like Harvard or Princeton, this kind of thing. So I think for everybody at the institution, I think everybody is sort of feeling real good about it.
And indeed, there seems to be a bit of a worldwide celebration because your lab, of course, has been working on the GPCRs for 4 decades, and it's spawned an awful lot of people who have gone out to other places. And the whole field seems to be happy that there's an award now.
I think so, and I think, as you probably know better than many, the Nobel Prizes are often seen, of course, as awards to individuals, but beyond that, they're recognition often of a field. And so everybody in the field feels good about it, especially if they feel good about the particular people from the field who are getting the award. And, I really do think that, the kind of contributions that Brian and I have made over the years are generally, regarded, very positively and as being important in the field. And so I think everybody in the field really feels good about it.
Those 4 decades really have been a sort of golden era for discovery of neurotransmitter receptors. And
absolutely. And, the whole idea that there might be such receptors goes back a century. But, interestingly, when I started doing my work 40 years ago, there was still huge skepticism as to whether things like receptors really existed, even from some of the people who were central in pharmacology. And in the very early years of the work, there was a lot of pushback in terms of, well, can you really do this? You're really isolating receptors. How do we know they're receptors? And now, of course, it's, to my students and fellows, they're surprised to hear there was ever such skepticism.
Yes, because, your isolation and then sequencing of the beta-2 adrenoceptor really, well, it was the first isolation, and it sort of gave the Rosetta Stone through which everybody else was able to decode the dozens of other receptors.
I think this is exactly right. And, like so many contributions in science, it took years. It took us a decade to get these receptors isolated, and then another number of years to get them cloned. So we're talking 15 years to get to that point. Yeah. And similarly with Kobilka's recent crystal structures, you can throw in another 10, 15 years there. So, it's tough.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes perseverance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, it was during the sequencing of the beta-2 adrenoceptor project that Brian Kobilka joined your lab. And
exactly. He was a fellow working in my laboratory. We were collaborating with a lab at Merck. And we had already purified the receptor, and together with them we had gotten these little stretches of protein sequence, which was truly the Rosetta Stone, which allowed the cloning. The whole key to the whole thing was that decade of work to get the receptors purified. And So Kobilka was sort of in my lab was the fellow leading the cloning work, not the original biochemistry, and then we were collaborating with a group at Merck. But that was sort of his baptism of fire, so to speak. And so he was very active in that research. And he was in my lab really for about 5 years altogether, and had a very productive time. It was clear to me then that he was a very, very special guy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because he's disarmingly quiet. He's such a self-effacing chap.
Oh my goodness! I think he's painfully shy, I think that's why he is very self-effacing, and that's just his personality. I hope he can really enjoy this, especially today and the next month or two, because this is not his comfort zone, I would say.
Exactly. Well, in fact, we spoke to him earlier, and yes, he was expressing the fact that he probably thought he probably wouldn't enjoy what was about to come.
Yes, I think that's correct.
Yeah, but hopefully he'll enjoy the trip to Stockholm when.
I hope he will. I'm sure he will.
But for the meantime, we should leave you to enjoy your celebrations. And unlike Brian Kobilka, I think you really sound like the sort of person who will enjoy the next few days.
Indeed, I intend to enjoy this day to the fullest.
Okay, I'll let you get on with it then. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.